What if you could knit your perfect summer wardrobe, 10 pieces, all made by hand? In 2025, that's exactly what I'm doing. Welcome to my Summer Knits Capsule Wardrobe series, episode 2. Hello, I'm Yvette and welcome to my channel. Over here, I talk about all things art from painting to knitting. This is the second episode of my Summer Knits Capsule Wardrobe series. I started this project as a knitter who lives in a tropical climate with the aim of creating versatile and beautiful hand-knit items that actually work for the weather that I live in. So I will be knitting 10 garments in total, and today I'll be introducing my very first garment of the series, which is the camisole number 9 by My Favourite Things Knitwear. This camisole is a top-down tank with a very clean and minimalist look. It features folded edges for the neckline, the armholes, as well as the hem of the body, and this gives it a very clean and polished feel. It is knit on 3mm needles and is designed to have around 12 to 15 centimeters or about 4.75 to 6 inches of negative ease, so it is meant to be a super well fitted top. I chose this as the first featured piece because it is one of my current works in progress, and for practicality's sake I want to finish one of my current whips before I get started on a new one. But more than that, I am genuinely excited to wear this tank top. Its minimalist look makes it extremely versatile. At first I was kind of drawn away from this pattern because it looked like something I could buy from a store like my Uniqlo shirt, for example. But after looking at it multiple times in Reverie, I realized that I really wanted to have this as one of the knitted pieces in my wardrobe, and that is because of how versatile it can be. And honestly, aren't we just knitting things that we actually want to wear? So I find that this top is something that I can easily dress up or down, and it can be paired with a lot of different pieces in my wardrobe as well. It feels like a very strong starting point for this capsule wardrobe, and as someone who lives out of tank tops, I know I will get a lot of use out of this one. For this tank top, I am using Knitting for Olive cotton merino in the shade Dusty Blue Well, and this is how she looks like. If you have watched my last few videos, you will know that I've been talking about this yarn, specifically this color, non-stop ever since I was knitting my Nata dress. So apologies if this is your umpteenth time hearing this, but I just have to talk about this yarn because I am using it so much in my recent garments. This is actually leftover yarn from my Nata dress, which I talked about in the last video, and I'm honestly obsessed with this yarn. It is so easy to work with. I find that the cotton in this yarn gives it so much breathability, while the merino gives it just that little bit more of elasticity to make the knitting process way more enjoyable. So here is my swatch. I managed to meet the pattern gauge for this one, which is 30 stitches by 38 rows, and it knit up really beautifully. The fabric has such a lovely drape, and I think it will suit the structure of the tank top really well. I used cotton merino held single for this, and so it feels like a super thin fabric, like I'm almost not wearing anything, kind of. Since this tank top is meant to be tight-fitting with some negative ease, I didn't want to risk it stretching out over time. The blend of cotton and merino give it a perfect balance of breathability and comfort while still maintaining enough stretch to be able to keep its shape over time. So moving on to the garment proper, I am currently working on the body, and this is how it looks like so far. It's a bit wonky because I obviously haven't blocked it yet, and I am currently halfway through my body. Actually, when I got into this project, I wasn't expecting too much because I was knitting on 3mm needles. It's super tiny, as you can see, and so I was expecting this to be a bit more of a longer knit, but I only started this project less than 2 weeks ago. Of course, with that being said, I was solely working on this one project, and so that's why it went by a little bit faster as well. But I've never actually managed to finish knitting a garment in less than 1 month, and I think this project may just be the first garment that I get to do that. I have already finished picking up stitches for the neckline, done the folded edges for it, as well as for the armholes, and I've also weaved in my ends. How disciplined am I? The pattern actually calls for the body to be fully finished knitted before you go back picking up stitches for the neckline as well as the armholes. However, when I was doing the knitting for the body, I realized that the armholes and the neckline were really stretched out, and so I just knew that the final length wouldn't really be super accurate if I were to do the body and then pick up for the armhole and the neckline. So what I did instead was to knit the body, and when I was done with that ball of yarn, I picked up a new ball of yarn and I started knitting for the neckline as well as the armholes. And I find that After you pick up stitches, it cinches in a little bit and you get a more accurate representation of how the final length of the garment is going to be. So that's maybe a recommendation for you guys if you are also knitting the camisole number 9, to maybe not finish the body first and work on the neckline and the armholes first before you finish the body. And I also find that it just makes for a much more pleasurable knit, because once you're done with the body, you're like done. I find that one of the most tedious aspects of this garment is the folded edges. There are so many to do. It's necessary, but it's just super tedious, and if able to, I want to get it out of the way as fast as possible. I think I'm almost done with this garment. I could be done by the end of this week. This is where it currently is on my body. If you compare it to the current tank top that I have, it is more or less that length actually, but I do want to knit it a bit longer than this current tank top, so I will probably go like this much more on the garment before starting to work on my folded edge. And as for the amount of yarn used, I've used surprisingly little. This is my second ball of yarn, and even so, I'm not even halfway done with this ball of yarn yet. So I have made quite the garment out of just 1.5 balls of yarn, and I think I can probably finish off the rest of the garment with just this ball of yarn. So this is how my top looks like pre-blocking. I actually knitted it to this length, which I think is perfect. It's at a long enough length where I do not have to tuck it in, but if I wanted to, it could go in a little bit, and it looks like that. And it's not so short that it'll be like here, but I did make it a little bit shorter than what the pattern suggested by I think 2 cm or so, and this is how it looks like. I think the fit looks really good as well. This is how the back looks like. The main thing that I'm worried about is this area over here. When I picked up my stitches, I think this part was more even. Over here, it's not so you can see a little bit of cinching going on. I think now that I'm wearing it, it's not so obvious, but there is definitely some cinching. So I hope it evens out when I block it. But otherwise, this is how it looks like so far. And to block. This smells so good, by the way. So this is how she's looking like, all done, all blocked. It is a little bit cropped still, a bit below my belly button, but perfect length. This is exactly where I want it to be at. I usually like my camisoles to be a little bit more cropped, so this is like, I think, such a perfect length. And the cinching that I was worried was happening at the left armhole, I believe it was the left, totally disappeared after blocking, so you can see that it is now super even on both sides. I love it. I think it looks so nice, and it is very chic. It looks almost like it could be store-bought, and I think this camisole is such a strong first piece in my knitted summer capsule wardrobe. So I'm super excited. I can't wait to wear this like all the time. And let me just share with you guys some statistics with this particular camisole, and I usually like to just write down some statistics for each finished piece so that I can have something to refer to always. So the first thing is the yarn. Mentioned at the start of the video, it is knitting for olive cotton merino in the shade Dusty Blue Will. And for the yardage, I just used 2 balls. It's almost a stash bust out, so you just need 2 balls for this camisole. I mean, granted, I did knit the extra small, so that helps, but yeah, yardage wise, it was just 500 meters of yarn. I started on 30th April 2025 and ended on 18 May 2025. So this was actually just short of 3 weeks actually, so I think this is such a fast piece. It went by so quickly. I remember just like the entire body part just flying off my needles. The only thing that was a little bit slower is the folded hem, the folded neckline, the folded armholes. Everything is all folded, and so it's a little bit more tedious in that sense, but for the most part I think it makes for such a beautiful finished polished project that honestly, I really want to do it for every single project from now on, but we'll see. As for the number of hours spent on this project, I spent 35 hours and 26 minutes on this project. I think it's a decent amount of time. Let me show you guys how I style it. So when it comes to pairing outfits with this camisole, I would say it is a very simple camisole, and that lends to its versatility. You can pair it with jeans, with shorts, because it is a summer top, and if you want to have a bit more of a classy, formal look, you can wear it with some skirts as well. It just gives a little bit more of an elegant look, and I like that very much about this camisole. You can tuck it in, you can leave it out, either way works fine as well. As for accessories, I like to pair it with a necklace because it is pretty simple, therefore I would definitely wear some accessories with this camisole just to make it a little bit more interesting. If you don't want a necklace, you can also try earrings. I do love my dangly earrings, and I would totally pair one of my dangly earrings with this camisole as well. I think it just makes it so fun and interesting. So yeah, that is how I pair my camisole. So that's all I have for this video. I hope you liked the first piece that I knitted for my summer capsule wardrobe, and I can't wait to share with you guys the next garment that I have in store for my summer capsule wardrobe. I hope that you guys are as excited as I am. If you guys want to know more about summer fibers and why I decided to choose certain yarns for my summer capsule wardrobe, feel free to check out my video Summer Fibers 101, where I do a deep dive into summer fibers and summer yarns, so you can go and check that out. And otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!